You're going to learn something in this one.
Welcome back to the channel.
I'm sure you're going to learn a lot in this video, because in this video we're going to outlay the 4 tricks that are going to save you thousands in rent to rent.
These are not really common knowledge. Some of them you might know, but I'm guessing most of them you're not going to know about.
So some of these tricks are going to save you a lot of time, some of them are going to speed up your results, and some of them are going to save you a lot of money. So yeah, it'll be interesting to find out which ones you did know about and which ones you didn't ever hear about. So comment below. If there's any other tips or tricks, feel free to comment them below.
So the first one we're going to speak about is viewing.
So maybe you're working a 9 to 5 job and you've phoned a few agents and you've got a few viewings booked, but they're on different days, and you know you're going to have to book time off of work, and you're going to have to take that loss in your wage to drive up there, spend the money in petrol, go around doing the viewings, to maybe make an offer, maybe not make an offer because the deal might not stack. If you do make an offer, it might not get accepted. But anyway, either way, you're going to have lost quite a lot of time and quite a lot of money. So a little tip that we started doing, you can ask for a video viewing. So a video tour of the property. And a lot of agents will be willing to do this, especially with what's going on right now in the world. Most of them are doing video viewings. So if you can build that rapport with them on the phone and get them to send you video viewings rather than going on viewings, then what you can do is you can make offers on those videos, but subject to you doing an actual viewing. So that way you don't have to book any time off work, or you don't have to take time out of your day. You can just have a look at some videos, do your best sort of due diligence that you can, make an offer, and then with all the ones that come back, if you get any accepted, you say, okay, now I want to view it, and then you go through your proper due diligence and you go around there with your checklist and you do your own video and you take pictures of everything.
Yeah, so by doing this, not only is it going to save you a hell of a lot of time having to book the time off work to go do all of these viewings, it's also going to save you a lot of money on travel expenses, because you're going to be traveling doing all these viewings, and a lot of the times you're not going to get the offers accepted. So if you do this, if you do ask for a video viewing, it's going to save you a lot of time and money. Now the only downside to that, we prefer to go on viewings because you can build a good rapport with the agent. So that's the only downside. Unless you're going to be calling them frequently, you can still build rapport that way. But for us, we like doing the viewing.
I prefer to do the viewing. I can straight away start busting jokes, start just getting friendly with the people. So I find it a lot easier. But also get good at building rapport on the phone, and it will save you a lot of time and money. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and whilst it's still on the subject of viewings, what's going to save you a lot of time and money as well is when you get the offer accepted, subject to the viewing, and then you go do your viewing to work out the proper numbers, just make sure you check everything in the property, check everything that you need to for the actual viewing. We spoke about it a few times, so I won't go too much into it, but it is essential, it's very important that you check everything.
If you want a property viewing checklist, comment below and we'll send one your way.
So tip number 2 is look for HMO properties that are already in an Article 4 area.
So a lot of trainers and YouTube videos will tell you to look in areas that are not Article 4, because that way you can find, say for example, a 3-bed house with 2 reception rooms. You can bang a bed in there and bang a bed in there, but you're going to have to then get a license. You're then going to have to comply with the license and all the laws and regulations. So you're going to have to get paid for fire safety. You're going to have to pay for a lot of things, fire doors.
You would still need to comply with the fire safety regulations. So that's going to cost you money to get ready for your tenants. That's going to cost you a lot just to start with. So what we do is we look for properties that are already in an Article 4 area. So those HMO properties that we're looking at, they've already been running as a HMO and they've already got a HMO license in place. So there's nothing that we need to do to get the property ready, apart from dressing it up and getting it ready for our tenants.
Yeah, the fact that it's got a license means that the council's come round and issued that license, which means that they're happy with the property. So there's not really anything that you need to do legally. All you need to do is dress it and make it look nice, and that's not going to cost too much. Yeah. So that's why we always pick those properties, because 1, the work's all done for us. 2, it's lower
entry cost.
Yeah, it's lower sort of start-up investment.
And also, if you're going to be doing that, when you're doing rent to rent, you don't want to be putting a lot of money down because you don't own the property. You don't want to spend loads of money doing the house up, and then 12 months down the line, the landlord decides he doesn't want to work with you anymore and takes the keys back off you. So maybe looking for two bedroom properties with 2 reception rooms. If you was going to buy the property in a non-Article 4 area and then do the house up and turn it into a HMO, maybe that would work because it's your property. You wouldn't mind spending the money to do that. But if it's someone else's property and you're just doing a rent to rent on it, to us it wouldn't really make sense to do that.
But that being said, I know people that are just doing the other model where they look in the non-Article 4 area, they find a house with reception rooms, and then they add more rooms to the property. That way, people are smashing it doing that, but we prefer to stick to the Article 4 areas because everything's already done for us.
Alright, so number 3 is control your emotions.
Yeah, this one's a big one, especially we know what it's like when you're starting out and maybe you've been calling agents for a week, you've been sending out letters for a month, and then you finally get one person say yes, they want to work with you, and they've got one deal. So you go and see that deal, and then the numbers ain't really that good. You got so excited about that deal, you got so up about it that when you're there, you're just sort of trying to make it work. So say for example, the average rents in the area is 450, but you're putting in the deal analyzer going, I reckon we could get 500, or like you'll just try and make it work in your head, and then maybe you'll come across like some issues that need being done in the house, and you're like, oh well, this is our only deal, so I think we should pay for that, and then like end up spending more than you wanted to spend just because you don't want to lose that deal. You can't let your emotions get into this, because like you're gonna have this deal for 5 years or 3 years or whatever, and you like the feeling of yes I've got a deal is quickly going to go away when you can't pay for it and everything's going wrong. Like you need to make sure that you stick to your numbers, you stick to what you said you was going to do, and if it doesn't work for you, let them know, sorry, this isn't going to work for you unless you look
at a different price or
and that's where the negotiation comes in. You cannot just be like, oh my god, I finally got a yes, and then just go let your emotions take over your actual common sense.
Yeah, you need to be conservative with the numbers, because if, like you said, you're trying to make the numbers work, trying to think you can get higher rents, then that's just going to come back and bite you at the end of the day. So definitely control your emotions. And also something that's worked with us is when we look for deals, we try to look for deals that don't need much work whatsoever. We want to find deals that the numbers work and it's a really low entry cost for us.
Well, put it this way, if we spend £2,000 doing up somebody's property and we make £1,000 profit each month, we've only got 2 months to make our money back. So we've got another 10 months to make profit, and if the landlord wants to get rid of us at that point, then they can. We haven't lost out or just spent thousands of pounds doing up the guy's property. But most of the time, you do a very good job for a landlord, they are not going to want to just take it back and just start dealing with all the hassle that you're dealing with.
Yeah. So, and also, if you do a good job for the landlord, it's likely they'll have other properties, or they might have some more capital to get more HMO properties that they'll pass on to you, and plus they'll know a lot of other landlords as well.
Landlords always know HMOs. Landlords.
So yeah, but yeah, going back to the last point as well, where we said about looking in non-Article 4 areas. If you're going to be doing that, your entry cost is going to be a lot more. So what works for us is looking in Article 4 areas, doing conservative numbers. If the deal works with conservative numbers, and that's great. And we look for properties that is going to be a very low entry cost for us.
So yeah, make sure that you're sticking to your numbers, because your numbers won't lie to you. Only your emotions and your thoughts will just cloud your vision. So make sure you're sticking with your numbers.
So the fourth one is systemising your rent-to-rent business.
So you can get things like lock boxes to put the keys in for the tenant. So instead of driving to the property to meet the tenant who's moving in to give them the keys, you can just give them the code and they'll just open it. And then that saves you a lot of time. Or if a tenant loses a key, you could have a spare in there. So you haven't got to go and buy another one, or like if you're working, take time off work, it's just all already there for them. You just got to drop them a text letting them know your code.
Yeah. Also, when we started rent to rent, we was just tracking everything by spreadsheets and stuff like that. Now, what we do now is we use a management software called GoTenant. We're going to leave a link in the description for you. And what GoTenant helps us do is manage our properties and track everything. So it's got a rent tracker on there. So it's a software that helps you stay compliant as well as someone who's doing rent to rent or someone who's got a property management company. So it will give you reminders of when a tenancy's running out, or when you need to next do your fire safety check. It just gives you loads of reminders. I don't want to go too much into it, but we'll leave a link to GoTenant, and there's a video on there when you click on there, and it just explains quickly in a short video everything that it does. So another thing that you can do on there is you can get your tenants to sign their AST contracts electronically, so you don't even have to leave the office, or you don't have to leave wherever you are. You can do that, all of that online. They can sign it, send it back to you, you can approve it, and then you can give them the code to the lockbox that's outside, which will have their key in there, so you don't even have to meet them to do the move in and stuff. So yeah, it's great software, and it will really save you a lot of time and a lot of money, and a lot of headache as well, because you don't have to remember everything. It's going to remind you.
So also, once you've got a few rent-to-rents, there's going to be low value jobs that still need to be done, but it's not really worth your time. So this is when you'd want to get a VA, like someone out in the Philippines or someone, to, like, you can get them to, say for example, message all the people who are interested in rooms on Spare Room. They can make ads for you and reply to all the ads on Facebook ads for your rooms when you're trying to let them out.
You can get them to look on Rightmove and look at all HMO properties that fit your criteria, and then they can send them to you, and then you can say, oh, these are the ones I'm going to call the agents for, these are the ones I'm going to view. You can get them to do a lot of the small value tasks, like you said, that is not worth your time, and you can then focus on bringing money into your company rather than doing a little task that is just a waste of time.
Yeah, because once you've got 2 or 3 or 4 rent-to-rents, like all the little tasks that you have to do, you're just going to have to keep doing them. So if you outsource that, then you can focus on getting more money, getting more deals, getting more like networking, making new connections, and just doing high value tasks. So yeah, it's definitely something to bear in mind as well.
100%. So there we go, that's our 4 tips that will save you thousands, or save you a lot of time, should we say. Chilling on his billy, you know. So yeah, if maybe you already knew all of them, maybe you didn't know all of them, comment below. Maybe there's some other tips as well that you wanna share, so just drop them in the comments.
Right, and if you're a smart ass, just comment, I knew all of those. Alright, subscribe, all of that.